I think state of paralysis, which occurs as excessive anger or excessive humor, excessive shock or depression, it's quite a comfortable phase as opposed to many might think. So people in general do not want to leave that state of mind because otherwise they will have to do something about the problem. So this excessive emotions, excessive expression of emotions, makes people feel like they are doing something and they are politically engaged, which is a very dangerous illusion, in fact. And I think they are still, in Britain, in the United States, and in Europe, many people are indulging themselves in this sort of comfortable state of mind. Whereas I see many other people who are politically more engaged, really engaged, and who are already remembering that they are political subjects, in fact, not object. Okay, I published a book in February 2019, and I remember the first book event. It was very interesting. It was in Frontline Club, and there was a Brexiteer, a proud Brexiteer in the audience. He raised his hand and he said, "You can understand Turkey, but you cannot understand Great Britain." And I said, "I don't have to understand Great Britain, it's your job." But then I added, "Don't be surprised if you see Boris Johnson as your prime minister." And there was this sarcastic giggle circulating in the room. And today, actually, I just watched Boris Johnson heralding the good news of there is a Brexit deal in European Union, headquarters. So one of the things that is very common to right-wing populists or right-wing populists movements is that they create this chaos. You always think that it will end somewhere, but actually these regimes or these leaders are very much connected to the existence of the chaos. Right now, it feels as if in Britain, in London, or probably in some quarters, that, oh, okay, the deal is done, we're fine, and so on. But then there'll be, months and months, a lot of technical stuff, which will bore everybody so much so that nobody will be reading about Brexit, and the horrible things will start happening then. So one of the challenges of right-wing populism is the boredom and the numbness they inflict on societies. So you just let it go at some point. And that is where you start losing democratic institutions and civil society and at some point freedoms. So I urge British people, citizens of Britain, to keep tight, to sit tight and, not get bored. You know what I'm thinking? I'm like, once Borges said, dictionaries are built upon an unproven hypothesis, saying that, which claims that languages are equivalent to each other. Or they're all, they have same synonyms for each word and so on. I think we now, as a globe, has the same political dictionary. 10 years ago, it was impossible to talk about, to make understand British or American people what kind of an insanity Turkey was going through. Now they do understand because they're, going through the same thing. So, now it is possible to share our stories and to have a global conversation. Because we are now talking about the same thing, we are definitely and unfortunately on the same page when it comes to right-wing populism and rising authoritarianism. So maybe, finally, we can open up this dictionary and start talking to each other, because this is a global phenomenon that should be dealt globally. We are in Bristol when we're talking, and last night we had a very interesting panel after mayor's address. So it was interesting to be on the stage with these brilliant minds who talked about, local democratic institutions and so on. So whoever will come as a democratic leader, I think will come from cities. Cities are more forward than nations at the moment. Certain cities are more forward than the nations. Palermo in Italy, Bristol in London, Istanbul in Turkey, and so on. So I am expecting to see new political leaders articulating the 21st century demands of the people coming from these progressive and, yeah, amazing cities, so to speak. Cities lately, in the last 2 decades especially, have been the stage for very interesting uprisings. And all these uprisings, from Seattle to Tahrir, from Tahrir to Istanbul and so on, they had the same motto. They asked for human dignity. So I think that political demand will become the central issue in coming years. And people of the world, when they want to change the system, they're going to use the central concept of dignity. And cities are the places that this claim has voiced itself. So I think, yes, cities will be the answer to our political cul-de-sac.